Would you trust someone else with managing your Amazon business? They say you can only grow as much as you can delegate and automate the processes inside your business. Today's special guest on the Sellerboard Show podcast is Hamza Amor, who is the leader of the Fussy Penguins virtual assistant agency. And he will tell us about how virtual assistant agencies work. And if you want to learn how an agency like this can help you free up more time to make business decisions that will lead to growing your business, check out the episode. And if you want to find a solution to automate the processes inside your business, check out the link in the description, as Sellerboard is not only an accurate profit analytics software, but it's also a bundle of powerful automation tools like review request, campaigns, inventory management, PPC, bid and keyword automation, money back, alerts, and a lot of other features that will benefit your Amazon business. So without further ado, check out this exciting episode. My name is Alex. Let's go. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Sellerboard Show podcast. Today our guest is Hamza Amor. I fear that I wouldn't spell that right, but I think I got it correct. Hello, Hamza. Thank you so much for coming to our podcast.
Hello, Alex. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So Hamza is the Chief Penguin Officer at the Fussy Penguins agency. And we are going to talk a little bit about the name a bit later. Fussy Penguins is an Amazon selling services company that helps Amazon sellers, agencies, and consultants scale their business. So at least this is what the LinkedIn profile says. And we are going to learn more about Fussy Penguins and virtual assistant agencies overall today, because, for example, me personally, I'm not an Amazon seller, so everything related to how agencies work is something new for me. So today's podcast is interesting for me in the first place, and I also hope for the people that will be joining us, it will be the same. So just to start, please introduce yourself. Tell us how you got into e-commerce. What was your journey, how you ended up creating Fussy Penguins. But first of all, I would really love to know what was your first introduction to e-commerce. How did you start?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so I guess first things first is thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. So my background is a little bit unusual than most Amazon sellers. So I actually started my career as a consultant in data and analytics. So data and analytics has been the focus of my career for the past 15 years or so. And then I moved on to management, where I was managing consultants. So my last position before starting, the Fussy Penguins, was being VP of consulting over 600 IT consultants in the US. And the process that we had in the consulting firm was that we basically recruited people and we put them through a boot camp training. And then we deployed them as consultants in the field with, a full support staff, that supports them while they're on the field. So around that same time, I started in Amazon in 2019. Yes, I remember I started that with the Amazing Selling Machine. So I struggled with the first, couple of products. So, although I made some revenue, I had some profits, but I started literally just as the pandemic was hitting. So, even though, the courses were good and the material is good, everything was kind of, thrown in a whirlwind with COVID. So I had to, learn a lot of things very quickly.
Sure.
Yeah. So first product was okay. Second product was a little bit better. Third product was actually a big flop. I had a big issue with the FBA, which was a big $30,000 lesson for me. Yeah, and then after that, that's when things started to pick up. So after the third product, that's when I started to understand what to do, what not to do. Yeah, and then eventually in 2022, that's when I decided, I wanted to start this business. So I started putting the pieces together of my experience knowing data and my experience, building and scaling large teams into building this business, which is called Fussy Penguins.
All right, sounds good. And how big is your team right now? How many penguins do you have?
Yeah, so right now we are a team of 9 people. So each person kind of super specializes in their field. So our service is a little bit different. So even though we do say it's virtual assistants, but I think it's closer to like a managed service. So the way that we operate is instead of instead of clients having to go and hire VAs, train them, vet them, try to retain them and so forth. Basically, they can work with us based on, monthly subscription, and then they assign the tasks to us, and we delegate them internally to the right person. So let's say a seller wants to create a new listing. They would go into our tool, request that they want a new listing, and then internally the images will go to the graphic designer, and then the copyright will go to, the copyright expert with the SEO expert. So in essence, we kind of alleviate the need for, people to, have to know who's this task going to go to, who's going to do it. So they just assign it to us and we delegate it to the right person.
All right. So what I read from your LinkedIn profile and overall from the Fussy Penguins website, so is the fact that you, first of all, do account management and advertising services. Are those two fields your main domain of specialization? So
Yes. Yeah. So for Amazon, those are the two things that we focus on. So the account management is everything that has to do, with managing catalog, managing listings, managing seller support. And then the advertising side is, where the PPC side of things comes into place. So, creating campaigns, optimizing campaigns, for sellers.
okay, got it. So, but before getting into details about that, could you please tell me in general, well, me, for example, let's suppose I'm an Amazon seller. What are the reasons? Why would I actually delegate some of my tasks? Why would I need to go to a VA or search for an agency? Where that need comes from? So why?
Yeah, so the thing is with Amazon, so one, I think a lot of people focus a lot more on, learning new things and not so much onto execution. So I see a lot of people, attend, seminars, webinars, attend conferences. And, as you attend these courses, conferences, all this material that you gather, you kind of create a list of to-do things, right? You want to try, this new promo, promo strategy or a new launch strategy. So a lot of times, as a business owner, if you kind of focus too much into the step-by-step things of how to do things, it does tend to distract you from the bigger picture, which is, the strategy. You should be, as a business owner, you should be delegating, right? You should be delegating the hands-on task. You should be focusing on the larger picture, which is, how do I expand the business? How do I get funding? How do I expand into new channels? So I think those are better endeavors for for a business owner rather than figuring out what's the latest step by step to create a discount or a coupon or so forth. So
Yep, got it. So yeah, I totally agree. And at sellerboard, we actually pitch an idea that is close. The fact that if you can, you probably should try as an Amazon seller to automate any processes, or maybe in your case, delegate these processes, the daily, day-by-day routine that you have to do. So yeah, I totally get it. So just to leave time to focus on growth. Yeah. and how to do that, how to
Exactly.
grow.
Exactly.
And the VAs. So from our previous discussion, you've suggested some things to go through. And from the list of questions, I see an interesting topic for me right now. The common misconceptions about hiring VAs. What are they? So for me, for example, what could stop me, an Amazon seller, from deciding to hire a VA, or for example, to going to Fussy Penguins? Why? So what should I, what fears should I overcome? Or maybe help me
Yeah.
out on this.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest concerns that sellers have is, how am I going to give access to somebody else into my account? And they're going to see all my secrets and all my
Yeah.
revenue. But the thing is, as any company has to trust people, right? So you have to trust people because you can't operate a business, as one person. So whether you have a person here or a person overseas, there's always a risk that somebody could do something. But what you can do is, minimize that risk and build trust and build reports, with your team and with your service providers. So for us, for example, one of the things that we do is we do basically a background check that is equivalent to what the FBI would do here. So we do a full background check on all our resources. We check into their references. So we do a full and thorough check to make sure that they're, fully vetted, that they are who they are. And we get a clearance to make sure that they don't have any criminal record. So we verify everything down to the T because we want to make sure that our customers are comfortable working with us. And then the other thing is, obviously you always want to make sure that you're taking the necessary steps to protect yourself. So when you give somebody access to your account, thankfully Amazon has permissions, so you can set certain permissions for them, what they can see, what they can do on your account. So you just have to do your due diligence, but you have to be able to trust others to work on your account.
Sure. Totally agree with that. So trust is actually something that sellerboard also was built on. And from my discussions with one of the co-founders, Vladi, he said that the first clients that sellerboard had in 2017, they had to actually sign each NDA agreement personally and send it out to the users, so they would be sure that nobody would have access to their account. And even today, for example, this is a very hot topic for us because now we have a lot of customer feedback. So a lot of people are requesting to introduce integrations with third-party software for sellerboard. And the main reason that we do not do this is because of data protection policy. So we just take this issue too seriously, to do it. But yep, I totally understand. And in your case, how do you handle the access management or the roles or whatever? So how do you delegate, access to certain parts of the account and the management of the users?
Yeah. So even after doing, all the vetting, and all the due diligence, we still only want people to see what they need to see, right? You never want to open, all access to, to anybody, even if they are, an employee inside. And it's just a precaution. So, and my background is in IT and software development, within the analytics field. So I am all, well too familiar with, data privacy concerns, and this is a, best practice for all, IT, leaders and, software development leaders, is that you only want people to see what they need to see. If they need something extra, then, you may need to either time box it where, they'll have something extra just to get what they need done. But yeah, for the most part, you just have to have policies in place, to have the right people have access to the right things.
Yep, got it. So are there any other, I don't know, not drawbacks, but maybe fears that sellers need to overcome when they delegate. Because, for instance, yeah, talking about trust, really this is a big issue for me personally. For example, I don't know what should stop a person from that would work potentially with my business model from just copying it, you know, and doing the same. So it's kind of something that I really would have to overcome. But any other issues, anything that sellers, you know, fight with before making this decision?
Yeah, so the thing is, even as you're working with providers, like they don't need to know everything about your business, right? So you want to
Yeah.
keep, you know, certain things, you know, private to you, you know, as the seller. You know, but for us, you know, we do make sure that, you know, even as we do our due diligence with our staff, you know, but at the same time, I wouldn't give my team access to everything in a customer account. So it's always
Sure.
segregated, you know, where each person has access to, you know, the things that they need. But, you know, for me as a, you know, what I would recommend to business owners is to kind of start small. You know, start delegating maybe, you know, smaller tasks that are not, you know, as private and not as of concern. It could be, you know, start maybe with just listing creation. I mean, just doing, you know, listing creation, listing images,
The basic stuff,
you
right?
know, having somebody. Yeah, exactly. I mean, even you know, PPC, for example, you could have somebody manage PPC. They don't necessarily know who your suppliers are. They don't know what your, you know, cost of goods sold are. So yeah, so the risk you know, becomes apparent when you open the door to everything, and especially with somebody that you don't know and you haven't worked with you know, in the past. And but yeah, for us, as you know, as you know, companies, you know, serving Amazon sellers, reputation is everything, right? If we have,
Yeah.
you know, an issue as an agency or as a service provider, that means you're not doing something right, you know, internally.
Yep, got it. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about your clients. So do you work with all kinds of business models? Do you work with private label owners or wholesales or wholesale or arbitrage? So do you offer services to all of them, or you're specialized on a certain business model?
Yeah, so we only specialize on the private label sellers.
Okay, okay, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And I would love to know more about, you know, what kind of businesses are these? Small businesses, or maybe, I don't know, or what's the, you know, the range of how much business actually in volume do you manage?
Yeah. Yeah, so we have clients that are actually just starting out. So we've had clients come to us that said, you know, help us, you know, start a store, all
Yeah.
the way to, you know, seven-figure sellers. So we have,
Wow.
you know, seven-figure sellers that do pretty well. And, you know, we've actually a lot of our larger sellers, you know, we introduced them to sellerboard. So and that's, you know, that's been working out really well.
Nice, nice. Now that you brought this up, I wonder, how do you do the profit analytics part, and what role does sellerboard play in it? I mean, what business decisions do you base on the data that you get from sellerboard, or how do you report? I mean, how do you use sellerboard in your day-to-day work and with your interaction with the clients? Could you relate a
Yeah.
little bit about that?
So yeah, so for every client that we have, I always ask, you know, what kind of tools that they have, what are they using for reporting? Because as a business owner, and as, you know, an Amazon seller, you need two things, right? You need good data so you can make good decisions, and two, you need execution, right? So we
Yeah,
take care of the execution part, but they need to work on the data aspect. Because, you know, when we initially started, we started to sign, you know, with customers, you know, they would basically ask us, you know, we love the service, but we don't know what to prioritize. We don't know what to do first. So our answer to that was sellerboard, right? So we connect sellerboard to their store. We load their cost of goods sold so that we can have a good, clear view on profitability. We connect to PPC so that we can have full view on the total tacos, basically total advertising cost of sales. So that gives us a full view into not only how are we doing in terms of profitability, but how are we doing in terms of growth. And that allows sellers to essentially be able to prioritize, because now you have full visibility over your stores. You can see what are what your top performing products are, what are the bottom performing products, maybe some things that you need to cut and remove from your store, maybe products that are doing well you need to expand and add more variations. So the discussion becomes a lot easier into what needs to be done. And we're not just guessing, well, maybe if we do this, it's going to be good. Maybe if we do that, it's all data driven, and it's all, leveraging sellerboard.
Nice. I wonder, do you use the roles management module just to kind of distribute the roles between and the access to sellerboard and to the PPC? Because the things that we talked about a bit earlier now in the discussion, I mean, we have this functionality, just to give certain access to certain parts of sellerboard to different team members. Do you do that?
Yeah, so actually for sellerboard, the only people that have access to the sellerboard is the client and then the account manager from our side. Okay. So it's used for decision making. So doing analysis and then making decisions on what to do next. And then the client and the account manager on our side, they decide, what are the next tasks that we need to work on, and they get entered into the system. So that could be, PPC management, creating new listings, adding A+ content, and and so forth, just based on those decisions made from sellerboard.
Okay. One last question, since we're still on the topic. Do you use the inventory module and the inventory planner, the purchase orders module?
We do. Our clients love that, because it gives them, full visibility into, what your inventory levels are now. If there's anything on the way in transit to Amazon FBA, you can see it in the dashboard. And then they like getting the alerts when inventory levels are down. I can't tell you how awesome that module is. I think it's probably underlooked in sellerboard, but it's helped us. It's helped us save a lot of headache for our customers.
You can't even imagine how happy you make me right now, because I'm the person who does the training. So every time I attend a webinar or a training and I talk to people, and I really understand that they are sellerboard users, but from all of the variety of tools, they only use a certain percentage, and that's like 10 to 15%, just to see their numbers and do all the work that's necessary to make some decisions, but they do not fully leverage the potential of the automation tools, for example, the inventory management tool. So every time I come across an experienced user, that always makes me feel better. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
Great. Okay, so could you please tell me more about maybe one of the cases when now that you've made me happy, tell me about a case when you made one of your clients happy, when you managed, to get their results up, and what was the role of Fuzzy Penguins in this, and how you managed to do it. Just one of your, stories that you are proud to share. I would love to hear that.
Sure. Yeah, so I do have one that comes to mind. One of our customers came to us after, having worked with an agency for basically a year. And they had basically their sales and their profits just stagnated, which is, quite amazing to me, because you would think that you would have spikes in, Q4 when sales go up, or Prime Day, but it just kind of stayed flat throughout the 12 months. And even profitability was, pretty much a 2 to 3% decline or incline, which is, kind of surprising. But one of the first things that we did for them is we plugged them into sellerboard They didn't have any visibility over profitability. They had no idea, they had, an idea what their, profit margin or gross profit margin from, from their accountant, but not down to the ASIN level. So that was really critical to put that in place. And then the next thing is we also plugged them into PPC and into inventory. So we started leveraging all those features to understand, what are some of the things that we need to do more of that are working, and then what are some of the things that we need to get rid of and remove. And for us, it was all, to kind of giving the clients the tools that they need, for them to be able to make those decisions, and they'll have those discussions with the account manager. So it's not basically us telling the client, here's what you need to do, but it's kind of us meeting with the clients and saying, okay, now that you have the data, you can see everything. You can see your profitability. You can see how things are trending down. So we take them into the sellerboard dashboard, that has the little spark line that trends the
Yep.
12-month
Yeah,
trend
it's the
for
trends
each
view, right?
ASIN, and then you can see. Yeah, sorry, you cut off there for a second.
Sorry about that. So I thought that we were talking about the trends view for each ASIN, right?
Yes, that's the one. And then that trends view tells you, how things are, performing over time. And then you're able to make decisions whether, this is something that we need to intervene and make some changes. Maybe listing needs to be optimized. Maybe PPC needs to be optimized. Yeah, the first month of, them working with us to make those adjustments, we had a 12% increase in profit. So revenue stayed the same. We didn't add anything new, but because to me, the important thing in the beginning is to make sure to not just throw money at growing sales, but optimize profitability first, then add in more money to grow. So,
Sure.
And then by month 2, we were at 25% profit increase from when they came. So.
Wow.
So now we're working with them. This is month 3, but that was huge for them. I can't tell you. I mean, they make pretty big numbers, and the 25% was a significant increase in their profit. So
Amazing. That sounds really impressive.
yeah.
So one question came to my mind right now. I imagine that you have all kinds of clients. I mean, each one with its own, type of product. And how do you identify the unique needs of every client? I mean, because it's every business is different. I mean, every product is different, and the consumer behavior is different. So how do you identify? What's the process at Fussy Penguins?
Yeah, so we do have an onboarding time period where we need to learn about the business. We need to understand, if the business has a certain seasonality. We need to understand if they have any kind of restrictions, because every niche, sometimes you think what the niche is about, but once you get into it, the nuances are very different. They're pretty big. But for us, after we gather that intel from the client to understand the business and how they operate, we kind of let the data do the talking. So, the data, once you plug into, sellerboard or, reporting tool, you're able to see, historical data. You're able to identify seasonality. And then from there, you can kind of identify where are the gaps and where we need to be. From there. So we also do, take a look at some reports, within Amazon, such as, Growth Opportunity Explorer. There are quite a few different tools, for brands to see if their conversion rate is good, to see, for example, for specific keywords, what is the ideal conversion rate. So that allows us to kind of, see where they are compared to their niche, and then where they are historically speaking. So we always want to be, benchmarking against those two. How are we doing compared to the niche, and how are we doing compared to historical data?
Got it. So imagine a
Yeah.
situation that I'm your new client, and I have a business that I brought to you, and I say, okay, Hamza, I'm having trouble with my sales. What would be the first thing that you would look at to identify the root of the problem? If it's a thing, if it's a process that you do all the time. The first thing.
Yeah, so we need, yeah, so that's the thing. Like there may not be a problem, right? It could be that just the product or the product line is stagnating, right? So the first thing that I would look at is looking at benchmarking first. I want to see, how the niche, how am I doing compared to the niche, and then how the top keywords, what are the conversion rates for the top keywords for the product. If I see that I'm below, those percentages for the conversion rates, then I know that there's something wrong. And you have to think about the customer journey as a funnel, right? For Amazon, so there's always being found in Amazon. So impressions basically is the number one. You want to be able to know that you have enough impression, that enough people are seeing your product. The second thing is knowing conversion rates. So the conversion rates, we can, that's basically the next step after, the impressions. Once people can see you, are they now, clicking on your listing, and then when they click on your listing, are they converting? So those are, basically the three steps that I look at. So impressions and click-through rates, and then conversion rate. So the click-through is when they see your listing, they click on it, and then from there, make a conversion. So you want to optimize each level of those three steps to make sure that each listing is performing to its maximum.
Okay, got it. Thanks. So, all right. Now, before I would get into the interesting part about your visions about the future, I'm leaving that for the end. My question is actually a request. If you could give our viewers 3 quick tips for analyzing their situation right now, and the things that they individually and by themselves could look at, and some ways that they can act upon the things that they would analyze. So see this, do this, if there's such a way of working.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely a big question, because there are obviously a lot of things that could be wrong with with a listing or with an overall store. For me, I would say, for people that are just getting started with Amazon, I would say, as you're doing product research and you're looking to start, make sure that you're looking for products that are trending up over time, where the demand is growing. So I think a lot of people miss that. Even existing sellers, when they're adding new products to their portfolio, I would say don't just add things that are selling a lot, but add things that are trending up, and month to month they're going up. So that's a tip, I guess, for both new sellers and existing sellers. Number 2, I would say, when analyzing conversion rates, which something that we touched on earlier, this is a big one. A lot of people don't know about the Growth Opportunity Explorer, where you can put a keyword and you can actually get all the way down to what each keyword, what the conversion rate should be for each keyword, and it will tell you the historical data. So you can basically compare your search term report to the conversion rates in this Growth Opportunity Explorer, to see whether you're doing good or doing bad, and then from there you can kind of see if you're below the conversion rate for that keyword, then you should basically test some things. So I guess that brings me to the third point. So leveraging A/B testing is also an underrated value, or an underrated tool in Amazon that a lot of sellers don't use. So because we are data driven, we make all our decisions based on facts. That's why, I tell, sellers to, make sure that you get an analytics tool that's going to give you visibility over your data and your performance. But A/B testing allows you to take the guessing out of the equation. So you can test, for example, two titles simultaneously, or test, bullet points, or test images, or test A+ content. So you can see two listings with everything the same except for one thing that's different, and see how they perform against each other. So yeah, so I would say that's a big one for Amazon sellers. I think knowing how to use A/B testing, being patient, waiting for the data to come back, typically a couple of weeks or so, so that you have enough data to make an informed decision. So yeah.
Yep, that sounds legit. Thank you. In the time left that we have, I would like to ask you a few more questions. The first one would be, given the fact that you work with a lot of different clients, you probably see some trends, and maybe you even foresee some trends in the near future. I would like to know, how are you preparing for those trends, and what do you see? I mean, what's your vision on how the Amazon selling space is going to evolve in the near future?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I can definitely see some trends happening right now. I think the first one and the most immediate trend is that Amazon is becoming more of a pay-to-play platform, where most of your sales are going to start, or more and more of your sales are going to start to come from sponsored sponsored ads, or sponsored rank. Because we're noticing that before, Amazon did not have a ton of spots in the search and the search results. It didn't have a lot of spots that were dedicated to sponsored listings. But now we're starting to see a lot, more and more sponsored ads taking more of that space, where there's barely any space for organic results, where now you have sponsored brands, and then sponsored product listings in the top, in the middle, or in the bottom. So it's becoming more and more necessary for sellers to really understand PPC and advertising, retargeting. All these things are becoming essential. Like there's no longer, you can no longer get by just having a good product and expecting it to do well. Like you really have to master and understand PPC and advertising, and if you don't master it, find a partner that can help you do it. So that's one. I think that's a big trend right now.
All right.
I would say just how things are evolving with AI and artificial intelligence. I think that's definitely gonna take over the search, probably within a few months. I would say that we're gonna see some sort of AI module that's added to Amazon search, where you search for something, it's gonna suggest some things that we may not be thinking of right now, which may be an opportunity for sellers to kind of, maybe there may be an opportunity for first movers, into that, to capitalize on it. So I'm sure Amazon will make sellers pay for any additional exposure, but I think it's something that top sellers are definitely keeping a lookout on. What's Amazon going to do with AI specific in the search results?
Got it.
And then I would
Okay.
say, yeah, that's the second one. And then number three is also related to AI. I think we're gonna see a lot of movements in the software providers side of things, where I think they're gonna start to buy each other. because they're going to be complementing each other. I can see where, big platforms, that may have a certain, AI component, one or two, where they might, add, smaller software providers, just so they can expand their AI offering. So I think we're going to see a big shift in the marketplace in terms of tools and a lot of aggregations of products, just so that they can offer a consolidated, AI offering. So those would be my top three, predictions in the space.
Nice. That's really a picture right there.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I totally
AI is
agree.
definitely a big part of it. So
Yeah, I totally agree with AI. Just penetrating every aspect of our lives, and the
exactly.
Amazon space is such a large, has so much uncovered ground and potential for the AI. So yeah, I totally agree. There's gonna be a lot of work in that direction. Agree. All right,
Yeah.
all right. Hamza, I think I have one last question for you. Just a quick one. What is your favorite thing that you enjoy in your work?
My favorite thing that I enjoy in my work,
Yes.
um, I would say when we hear good feedback about the work that we've done. That makes our day. And I usually share that with the entire team. But like last week, we were at the conference at 𝐟𝐫𝐞𝐞 in Austin, Texas, and then I had a couple of people come to us and say that they've heard good things about us. And that just made my day to hear that people are hearing about us and they're hearing good things. So which means our clients are saying good things about us. So we take those wins seriously. We share them internally with the team to make sure everybody's aware. But I would say that's probably the satisfying part, to see that our hard work and efforts pay off, and that customers appreciate the hard work that we put in.
Amazing, amazing. That's nice to hear.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
These are all the questions from my side. Thank you so much for coming to us, to our podcast, for sharing your experience. And one last thing, for the sellers that would like to, to contact you to see if Fuzzy Penguins can increase their results, which I'm pretty sure you can. What should there be their steps? How can they reach you?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me by email at the contact@fussypenguins.com, or they can look me up on LinkedIn as well. I am there as Hamza Amor. Yeah, and obviously our website's fussypenguins.com as well works. There's contact information there. But yeah, Alex, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed our discussion today.
Sure, same thing. Thank you, Hamza, once again so much. I hope to see
Thank you,
you
Alex.
somewhere, maybe at a conference or somewhere. Have a great day.
Yes, likewise. Thank you. You too.
Good luck. Bye-bye. This is it for today. Thanks again to Hamza for taking the time. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about how virtual assistant agencies work. I definitely learned a lot. And if you haven't yet checked out sellerboard, see the link in the description, see the demo account, learn how the automation tools can help you free up more time to grow your business, make those decisions, and analyze your situation with sellerboard. So, thanks again for your interest. See you in the next episode of the Sellerboard Show podcast. Bye.